In 2023, the MX-30 REV was announced. This new Mazda ROTARY machine is equipped with an engine not as a power engine, but as a generator. The biggest advantage is that by maintaining the most efficient engine speed, fuel efficiency can be greatly improved. However, some people say it's a shame that the engine doesn't rotate the tires. Honestly, I'm one of them. Still, it is truly amazing that the rotary engine has been revived in modern times. This is because although rotary engines have many technical advantages, they also have many disadvantages. How did Mazda engineers overcome the many disadvantages? To understand this, I think it is necessary to know the technology of rotary engines to date. So this time, I would like to think about the RX-8's engine, relentless. A typical automobile engine converts reciprocating motion into rotational motion. On the other hand, a rotary engine directly generates rotational motion. Because it has a simple configuration compared to a reciprocating engine. The engine is small and can perform a large amount of work for its size. This may sound like a rotary engine is better, but it has the disadvantage of poor fuel efficiency. The proportion of burned fuel that can be converted into power is small. Where does the energy that cannot be converted to? As with other engines, most of this results in heat loss. Rotary engines have a high rate of this heat loss. This is because rotary engines have a large internal surface area than reciprocating engines. Two-rotor rotary engines had less vibration and had more power for its size, so it was competitive until the 1970s. However, the fuel efficiency of reciprocating engines continues to improve over time. As time went, the reputation that rotary engines were fast engines, but they had poor fuel efficiency became widespread. As a result, there was a long period when there were no rotary engine cars other than the RX-7. Production of the RX-7 finally ended in 2002. Many people, both inside and outside Mazda, thought the rotary engine was end. In this way, while everyone thought it was no longer good, there were people who secretly invented a car with incredible vitality. The developers called the machine X1V. The X1V was equipped with almost the same engine as the later RX-8. When Mr. Kenichi Yamamoto, the creator of Mazda's rotary engine, he studied development in another department after working regular hours. Similarly, X1B's engineers developed, after hours, in another department, Operation B. Do you know the car called RX-01? This is a concept car exhibited by Mazda at the 1995 Tokyo Motor Show. That car was equipped with a rotary engine called MSP, the predecessor of the Relentless. MSP stands for multi-side port. In fact, since the days of Cosmos ports, it has been said that multi-side ports may have more benefits in terms of fuel efficiency and power. And this was the Rotary Engine Research Department's earnest wish. However, until now, Mazda's rotary engine vehicles had intake ports as side port and exhaust ports as peripheral ports. At the beginning of development, peripheral ports was used for both intake and exhaust. If both the peripheral ports, there will be large overlap between the intake and exhaust process. Greater overlap means less fresh air and more vibration at low RPM. Therefore, in order to reduce the overlap, the intake port was changed to a side port. But the sliding surface between the side housing and the rotor is larger than the contact surface with the rotor housing. If the sliding surface is wide, it will be difficult to maintain sailing performance. There was a risk that the oil film would be broken by the side port intake, making it impossible to maintain airtightness between the working chambers. A large amount of oil was supplied to maintain this oil film. More oil means more fuel is needed to burn it, resulting in lower fuel efficiency. Also, as more gasoline and oil are added, soot is more likely to be generated. So peripheral port exhaust seems to have been used to scrape this soot out. Engines such as the 787B's R26B used peripheral ports for both intake and exhaust. Because the high-speed range is the main focus in racing, emphasis on airtightness in the combustion process. Engines with peripheral ports for intake and exhaust had little pumping loss and could be expected to produce great power at high revolutions. I want you to imagine a syringe, but when inhaling something such as gas or liquid, the larger the opening, the less pouring force is required. When pushing out, the larger the outlet, the easier it will be. These things mean that pumping losses are small. Pumping losses also increase when the pipe is bent. The side port intake had a 90-degree bend in the piping, which was also disadvantageous in terms of pumping loss. For this reason, rotary engine cars from the late 1970s used turbocharging, which allowed them to suck in a lot of air even with the same inlet size. For 35 years, Mazda's rotary engine vehicles had adapted side port intakes and peripheral port exhaust to reduce the overlap between intake and exhaust, and have used large amounts of oil and gasoline to maintain sailing performance. In other words, as long as this structure is adapted, fuel efficiency and emission performance will not improve. Although the side port intake and peripheral port exhaust that have been adapted so far can reduce the overlap. They have a configuration that worsens fuel efficiency and emission performance. If the multi-side port system can be realized, overlap could be reduced to virtually zero, and emission performance could be improved by recirculating unbound gasoline. Therefore, Mazda's rotary engineers worked to improve the cell parts. They increased the air tightness between the working chambers by increasing the overhang of outermost side cells of rotor parts. By changing the cross-sectional shape of the side cell, they have improved its adhesion to the side housing, and it also has the ability to scrape out soot from the side port exhaust. They also changed apex cells of key technology on rotary engines from 3-part structure to 2-part structure. By making these, it prevents parts from falling into ports, and the weight reduction improves sealing performance at high speeds. Also, they changed the corner cells from rubber to cast iron, and applied a high hardness coating to prevent side port exhaust heat damage and improve oil lubrication. Rotor oil seals were double layered, but only the inside is made of silicone rubber. So the inside seal was changed, made of highly heat-resistant flooring, same outside. Although it seemed possible to achieve the multi-side ports by improvement these sealing parts, the risk remains that broken air tightness between working chambers on side housing laterals. Therefore, by installing a new cutoff seal on the outside of the oil seal, they improve air tightness and achieve virtually no overlap between intake process and exhaust process. However, the soot problem was still not resolved. Mazda's rotary engines required a lot of oil to be injected to ensure full air tightness in 3 working chambers. The history of Mazda's rotary engine is that engineers continued to develop technology to reduce this oil consumption. The RX-7 FD3S uses a direct method that supplies oil directly to the inner surface of the torque, reducing oil consumption to 1/10 compared to the initial stage of development. The MSPRA used a twin oil injection method to more precisely control the oil in working chambers, further reducing the amount of oil that causes soot. By these technological innovations, even if the piping is bent on the multi-side ports, pumping losses could be reduced by approximately doubling the intake port size. As a result, it has been achieved over 147 kilowatts despite the naturally aspirated engine. Engineers thought the MSPRA would be successful by these technologies. But within Mazda, the development of the new rotary engine was not officially approved yet. On the grounds of Mazda's large headquarters, there was a building known as the Haunted House that had survived the atomic bomb damage. In this place, there was X1B equipped with a multi-side port rotary engine. The wheelbase of this car is 2,700 mm. Already, that car was a prototype for the RX-8. It was a machine that power and cost performance through improved steering performance and intake port enlargement. This new rotary engine machine was waiting for its time. In the mid-1990s, Mazda's rotary engine development team, which used to have more than 100 people, had been reduced to just 7. Equipment for development was not supplied, and even the PC was taken away. These last 7 samurai knew that this was seen as an unwise choice within the company, so they called the development plan Operation B. B means stupid, and in Japanese called baka, that they themselves chose to use the B in that sense. Despite this situation, they continued development even outside of their regular working hours. Meanwhile, a chance comes along to show off X1B's capabilities. A simultaneous test drive event for the new prototype vehicle was held within Mazda. That event was held at Mazda's test course in Mio City, Hiroshima. In an atmosphere that was withdrawing from rotary engines in company, 7 samurais slipped the X1B among other prototype cars. Maybe they thought their turn would never come, but on the evening of that day, X1B's turn finally came. The driver was Martin Rich, an executive from the American parent company, Ford. He is also a European racing car champion, so he must understand the appeal of the X1B. 7 samurais hoped so that. The X1B starts running and suddenly produces a high-pitched exhaust note. With all due respect, Martin Rich is a crazy driver who charmed 7 samurais with his driving style that made them wonder, is that really the car we built? Although he had only planned to do 1 lap, he returned after completing 3 laps around the test course. Martin Rich said, "Great engine and car. Please improve your technology. I will handle the business part." The new rotary engine battle with society has finally begun. Ever since 1996, Mr. Martin demonstrated a crazy performance by the X1B. The situation was nothing has been decided about the future of Mazda's rotary engine. Then, in December 1998, a meeting was held at Mazda to select a new model. Among the many new models to be selected, rotary engine cars had disappeared. After receiving the decision to eliminate the Rotary, Mr. Martin Rich immediately took action. From Japan, he headed to England, where Ford's top executives had gathered. He accompanied them on the return trip from England to Ford in the United States and convinced them Mazda need rotary engine for brand image to spotty. To do so during the 7-hour flight. At that time, Ford owned many companies such as Volvo and Jaguar. Each brand needed to present a different and clear concept, but Mazda had not yet. Mr. Martin Rich said, Mazda should show a sport direction. Therefore, a rotary engine is absolutely necessary. Driven by his enthusiasm, by the time leaders arrived at Ford's headquarters, it was already decided that the rotary engine would be revived. In January 1999, a mass email was sent out within Mazda. Mazda's rotary engine is back. By announcing the RX Evolve at the Tokyo Motor Show in the fall of that year, Mazda showed that it was not giving up on rotary engines. The concept was a sports car that could sit for adults, and the rotary engine that was installed was named Relentless, which was a symbol of various ideas. In December 2000, with just a few days left until the deadline for the rotary engine to be officially adopted in a new Ford sports car, the development team was in a difficult situation. The most important factor, fuel efficiency, has not been improved. It was difficult to make the fuel fine during idling, and even though the injector was placed close to the working chamber, the injected fuel did not enter that. Even though Seven Samurais was worried that things would not be completed in time, development has been halted for several months. With 1 week left, while cleaning the prototype engine with the air blowing and away the water, someone said in a small voice, "If possible, blow away the fuel like this?" When several members heard this, they hurried to a parts manufacturer in the mountains. They said to the representative, "Please make these parts one day." They responded with their pride as same engineers in Hiroshima. "I do." Which was installed with only a week. This jet air fuel mixing system improved idling fuel economy by more than 40%. At the Tokyo Motor Show 2001, the RX-8 equipped with the new generation rotary engine, Relentless, was announced. Mazda's CEO, Mr. Mark Fields said, "The day has finally come to let everyone know about the RX-8. The RX series is Mazda's tradition, and it is Mazda's future." Multi-side pod, delivery of fuel to the combustion process. The technology and philosophy of Relentless will lead to the modern 8C.